This is K-12 Tech Talk. K-12 Tech Talk. The podcast by K-12 Techs for K-12 Techs. Real conversations, real arguments, and real banter on trending K-12 technology topics and issues.
Live from the somethingcool.com studios, this is the K-12 Tech Talk podcast. I am Josh, with you weekly. I don't even know how to explain this. Hopefully the video is working this week. We've been saying this for like 4 weeks. Chris, I guess Hacker Bro Chris is wearing a hoodie. And
what up? What up, my hackers? It's because of my rock star.
We need to talk about that too.
I'm getting ready to start a new session.
And Mark.
Hello,
Mark.
What's Mark got on? He's going to Hawaii soon?
Yeah.
I'm wearing my Hawaiian shirt.
You get ready to go play some pool?
Yeah. We're doing a little surprise for somebody at work, and we're all going to wear Hawaiian shirts. So hopefully that person's not listening to this episode.
I was going to say, you want to give him a shout out? I mean, it won't be posted until after he comes back, right?
Nah, I got a little more time. But yeah, I'm wearing my Hawaiian shirt in honor of a colleague who's coming back.
So before we get too deep into this, we already talked about somethingcool.com. It's been a day. We're not really going to get into it, but I have my bourbon. I had a quarter of a leftover birthday cake, so I'm ready.
Literally like a quarter of a cake.
Yeah, it was a quarter of a 6-inch cake. It was huge. And it was like 3 tiers. Reese's peanut butter cups and Reese's Pieces. But before, like seconds before I hit the record button, Mark drops a bomb on us and raises the sleeve of his shirt and shows us that he has now gotten a tattoo. I didn't know. I feel like Chris and I are pretty good friends with Mark. Like we talk every day. I had no clue Mark even would entertain the idea of a tattoo. And he's got this watercolor-ish style, would you call it, tattoo on your arm now?
Yeah. I've got other tattoos, but this is my new one.
How many tattoos do you have?
But in case the video is working, can you show the tattoo again?
Well, it's a little
Wait. Okay. Hey, we have another site for stuff like that.
Oh yeah, OnlyFans. It's big in Missouri.
K-12 Tech Bros. It's an Eric the Intern joke.
That teacher in Missouri, she's made almost $1 million on OF. So hopefully K-12 Tech Bros will take off, and we will post pictures of Mark's tattoos.
Okay, show the tat. This can be a trailer.
No, I'm not going to show. It's a very personal one, but I'll give you the story behind it. I just celebrated my 10-year anniversary, and for that I took our wedding song and I put that into an AI art generating tool and had it design a tattoo, and then had that tattooed on me. So I have an AI generated tattoo.
So I'm just gonna say this. I love it. I think it's cool.
Thanks.
I'm more interested in the tattoos that you aren't showing us than the one you are willingly showing us on your arm.
Yeah.
Where are they at?
I have a lower back tattoo. No.
Of an owl. An owl's wings.
Yeah.
You got to watch last week. You got to listen to last week's episode or the Halloween episode to know what that's about. So
wait a minute. Hold on. My mom listens to this sometimes, so we got to cut this out.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she doesn't know. Oh no.
It's not no way.
No.
This isn't real.
Nope, not real.
Does she use YouTube? Can we at least cut it and put it on YouTube?
No, this is gonna be an awkward Christmas.
Oh my god, this is hilarious.
It is what it is, Mark.
It is.
Mom,
it's over.
Mom knows now.
This is the best reveal.
So in case Mark cuts this in editing, he just revealed a secret that his mom has no clue about. And we do now. And so do our 12 listeners. Fantastic, amazing. Where are we? I don't even know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Josh, do you have? Wait, never mind. I forgot.
I have tattoos. Yeah.
We can't. Can we talk about tattoos?
Why would we
Why?
not?
Hey, wait, hold on. When did Mark get so much power that he gets to tell us what we can and can't talk about?
We talked about this already.
I never.
Like,
I didn't say that you could or couldn't talk about this.
I have a tattoo, Chris. I know you have at least one tattoo, right?
I do have one on my leg.
Yeah, you've shown that to me many times.
I want another one. I want
mine's
some
on my leg
color
too. Yeah.
We should all get tattoos together
We
sometime.
should. We should.
Wow.
And
our agenda is way off.
Yeah, but it's great content. If we'll take suggestions from listeners about what Dolly generated tattoo we should get. So send us your content ideas.
Something that looks cool alone, but becomes something great when it's paired up with two others.
Yeah, you like we interlock arms or something, and it makes a bigger design. Yeah,
yeah.
Our lower backs, we put our lower backs together, and it makes.
And really something that could be bigger than that anyone that like listeners can get it, and it becomes this really like we are K-12 Tech Talk and so are you movement.
Like what was that superhero that they would not
Captain Planet?
Voltron. Captain Planet. Yes, Captain
Yes.
Planet. I was gonna say Planet Hollywood, but I knew that wasn't
Like
right.
when you go to a tech conference, you just like roll up your sleeve real quick to flash it.
Like
and
Slytherin and Harry Potter. Mark, is that what your lower back? Never mind. Your mom's listening. The Slytherin tattoo. Okay, Mark, please lead us out of tattoo talk segment to.
All right,
and this is the news.
All right, so an update on
come on topic. Up, news boy Mark.
An update on something we talked about last week. We discussed the Jefferson County and Clark County data breaches. They are still active situations. And one of the things we don't want to talk about, we'll do a debrief on this one later on, but we do want to encourage you to check out databreaches.net. It is a website that gives regular updates on data breaches, including K-12 breaches, and they have quite a lot of details, including some interviews with the attackers behind this situation. So, we don't want to necessarily bring too much attention to an active situation, but at the same time, there is a lot that you can learn from this situation, and we do encourage you to take a look at both how the district is handling this and what information you can glean from the databreaches.net website in order to shore up your own systems. So definitely encourage you to take a look at that, and we'll regroup on this one in the next few weeks.
So full disclosure here, Mark, don't worry, don't panic. We were having a pre-meeting about this, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to talk about this because it is an active situation. We don't want to cast dispersions on anyone or anything like that. And Mark's first inclination, that whole what he just said, it was going to be, this is an active situation and we're not going to talk about it. So we appreciate you expounding on this situation, Mark.
Thanks.
Like we're literally a podcast that talks about the trending topics.
This isn't trending. It's not a lot. No, it's fine. What else, Mark?
The next one, so Okta, if you are familiar with that company, also suffered a breach, and that breach actually impacted a number of other big companies, including 1Password, or started to at least. And it appears to be caused by an employee signing into a personal account on a business device. So they kind of signed into their personal Gmail account. I don't know if it's Gmail or not, but on their business device. And then when their personal account was compromised, that bled into their work environment. So we wanted to think about this from our perspective. How do you handle personal accounts on district devices? Is this something that you allow or enable? Chris, do you want to jump into this one?
Sure. I'll just let the world know what my settings are real quick. So students, we don't allow that. They can't swap between things, but we do let our faculty staff have access to other email systems that they use. it's big conversation, right? Like convenience versus security, and you're always weighing, and even to give teachers, to give faculty, staff, like, we can acknowledge that they work from home a lot, that they bring their work home. We can acknowledge that there's things that happen during the school day, that life is happening outside of just their classroom, that they need, they're taking college classes, they're doing this and this and this. So we try to have convenient things for them to do, but we are compromising to some degree of that, to let other email systems be used that we don't have control over. We're still relying on firewall and content filter at that point, but yeah, we do let faculty, staff get to other email systems.
I think part of the conversation that a lot of schools have issues with, at least in our area, is when high school students take dual credit, or they go to another school. There's a district in Missouri that provides e-learning for a large number of other districts in Missouri. So there's this kind of constant battle of, do we allow them to log into the Chromebook with their college account or with their launch account? Because when you do that, they're no longer using your filter. You're no longer seeing them in Lightspeed or LineWise or securely under your instance. So that's where a big problem comes in, is you lose a lot of that visibility. And once they get to college, colleges are sort of known for taking laissez-faire is the wrong phrase, but a very laxed stance when it comes to filtering, because students are over the age of 18 and they don't have to comply with as many rules and regulations that K-12 does. So it is definitely a different environment with those kids logging in with those accounts. That's something that I know a lot of districts around us struggle with. Excuse me, guys, go ahead and continue.
I'll take back what I just said there. I said, like, we don't let kids, but I skipped over that part. Our high school students that are college students that have a college Google account, we have whitelisted that domain, and we tell them, like, they log out of our school district and they log in as the college, and we treat them, and that's been in practice for years and years now. They are supposed to log in as the college kid when they're taking their college classes, and we're treating them as college students. But with that means they do have more access to things. Not so much when they're on school grounds, because our content filter is still kicking in just to the generalized thing if that's a device on our network. But for sure, when they're at home and they're on school issued Chromebook but logged in as college, the world is free.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why we have it lockdown too, is that the district account has that security setting, and so we don't allow guest or secondary accounts on our devices.
So back to this breach issue, if they were logging in to Chrome with a personal account that had some janky extension loaded or plugin loaded, and they saved a professional credential, and that plugin scraped credentials, I could totally see it in an instant. That's how that's totally plausible. Now, whether or not that's really what happened, that's kind of what's going around the interwebs, as far as what the current rumor is there. But I could absolutely see that happening.
Yeah. The third piece of news this week, this was not necessarily related to K-12, but we do have an article that brings this back, is the White House released an executive order on artificial intelligence, and there is a great article that we'll link to this in the show notes about what this means for K-12. And in short, there's kind of three main kind of areas for us to think about. So the first is that his executive order, Joe Biden's executive order, did direct his administration to create resources to help teachers implementing tools, AI tools. So there is reference to AI within the classroom, and this executive order does mention this, specifically around personalized tutoring in the benefit that could bring. The other thing is that the U.S. Department of Commerce does have to create guidance for content authentication and watermarking. So essentially, now, it doesn't directly relate to K-12, but the idea is that as AI content is released, that it will be identified or marketed as AI-generated content. So that could help teachers address concerns that students have. The other thing we've talked about with AI is, getting into a district policy or a district guidance that encourages people to publicize when they're using artificial intelligence. So as your students are using it in their work, they're being very transparent with their teachers, and that kind of supports the AI executive order. And then the third, and this is, I think, the most important part, is that the executive order does call on Congress to pass legislation that protects data privacy, especially for children. So I think this is something we've talked about a lot with artificial intelligence, is how you protect student data and district data. So hopefully this executive order starts to spur Congress into passing and at least reviewing legislation, because we really are lacking on the federal legislation on student data privacy, with the exception of FERPA. But that is very, very loosely updated since it was originally created in the 70s. So hopefully this will spark Congress to revisit that conversation. So I don't know. I got a notification here somewhere. And that is it. And the last part of our news, Josh, you have some updates on a person who recently joined us.
So yeah, I was on LinkedIn, I guess it was earlier today, and I saw an announcement that a guest that we had on a couple weeks ago, Steve Smith, who was or is the IT director, CIO at Cambridge Public Schools, is now, or has been named, the new executive director of A4L. Excuse me. So congratulations, Steve. The three of us fully believe, well, Chris wasn't on that episode, I guess Mark and I fully believe that what pushed Steve across the finish line in this process was his appearance here on the K-12 Tech Talk podcast.
Yep.
So, Steve,
push.
We appreciate your time with us that week, and all the best to you, man. That's awesome that you're gonna be leading A4L, because you were you helped start, or did start, the whole student data privacy consortium thing. So that's super cool. Congratulations.
Cool.
Chris, why don't let's take our first ad break or sponsor break and tell us about Fortinet.
Fortinet, a proud sponsor of the K-12 Tech Talk podcast. You can email fortinetpodcast@fortinet.com. Talk to our friend Chris Illingworth there. Chris is a great guy. He can help you with all your Forta products, your FortiGate, your Forta everything. Reach out to him. Reach out to Fortinet.
And if you have a FortiGate and you're running 7.0 something firmware, the new 7.0, I think it's 15 was released, 14 was released last week. So start applying some firmware updates. We have some listener emails. Chris, you want to talk about those real quick? Or Mark, you have the first one, the Zoom AI thing.
Yeah. So the first one is, the question I got was, Zoom recently launched an AI companion that provides a summary of your conversation, even provides next steps from the meeting conversation. How are you handling this, and what should our approach be to enabling this feature?
I'm over AI. I'm over it.
You don't think it's going to amount to anything?
I did today. I was in Lightspeed, our content filter, and we've been getting some over lockouts that's impacting faculty, staff, and I've been digging into what we're doing. If we say, like, if you go to whatever, a malware site 10 times in 30 seconds, your account should be locked out, some kind of setting like that. That's a good setting and it's proper. But it's been doing some false flag stuff. So anyways, I'm in there and I saw that I didn't actually have the AI category full on for my faculty, staff. And I thought today, let's just turn it on.
Oh,
let's just give them the world.
You're allowing it. I thought
you
you blocked it out of the.
I was already allowing Chat GPT, but I hadn't actually clicked the category of just give them all the AIs. Just eat cake,
Have you had any feedback? Did anyone notice?
No.
I
did feel like I noticed
that you started doing most of your tasks with AI today.
Yes. This isn't actually me here today.
That would explain the good Wi-Fi.
Explains a lot.
Yes.
So about Zoom, turn it on. Let's go. Let's do it.
I didn't know Zoom was coming out with something. Mark, what is it? What does it do? What does it accomplish?
There are a number of components to it, both within the chat or text as well as the Zoom meeting. Essentially, what it's doing is it's gonna kind of, I don't want to say listen or record everything you're doing, but I'm going to be very careful with my words because I know that this is a hot topic for many people. But essentially, it is going to provide you with a written summary of your meeting at the very end. And I think it does go as far as saying that, oh, based on your conversation, here are your next steps. So kind of
It's pretty cool.
generating your meeting notes and meeting summary for it. Definitely came up within our district. There's definitely some like, oh, this could be really cool, and there's definitely the this could be very concerning. I think when you read how this function works, it sounds like it's geared for a meeting. So I don't know if I would necessarily turn this on for a classroom, knowing that it's may not necessarily be designed for that scenario. So I don't know if I would be quick to jump into a classroom scenario for this, but I think it's worth exploring how this could work in a meeting scenario.
Interesting. All right. Chris, the other listener email we had this week was about a retirement scam, a phishing scam. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, this came up in Missouri, but we know that bad guys like all of the states. So an active phishing campaign going on this month, and this was given as a heads up. A well-crafted email that says employee, lists the person's name, and then talks about basically a retirement review coming up. And they want you to, some very good sentences, looks legit. They want you to click a link to schedule some time to talk to them. And of course, that link is what goes to something shady. But we got a copy of the email going out, and it's one of the better crafted, completely, absolutely targeted to faculty, staff of school districts. If you spend time and look at it closely, you're going to see common things in there. They got the retirement system wrong. They said some sentences that make you want to. You were coughing earlier. You must have given it to me.
I think you.
They gave some sentences that make you want to act quickly, which is what the bad guys will commonly do too. And again, some links in there that if you're paying attention, you're going to see them as shady. But give a heads up. It was a big enough deal to me that I sent out an email to my faculty staff to give them a heads up about that email. So,
yep, we did too. And actually today, the Missouri State, I don't know if you saw it this afternoon, by 4:30, the pension program for Missouri sent out a warning to all of its members talking about it. So it's on their radar as well. Since we're done with listener emails, Chris, do you want to talk about Extreme Networks and how people can email Extreme and get more information?
Extreme Networks, another proud sponsor of the K-12 Tech Talk podcast. The guy to talk to at Extreme is Dominic Mayer, Mayer. You can email him at dmayer@extremenetworks.com. I have a fall break coming up at my school district, and we're spending 2.5 of those days replacing all of our IDFs with new Extreme switching. So looking forward to that.
Hey, are you getting off for deer season? Is that your fall break?
No, kinda, maybe, because I know deer season's already started, but we get off next, I guess, in like 2 weeks.
You don't know when deer season starts.
I got my scope ready. Is that a thing? Yes.
I was talking to a district the other day that said that their last day is this Friday, and they don't go back until after Thanksgiving.
Isn't that crazy?
After Thanksgiving, because of deer season, and they know that attendance would be so low due to deer season, so many kids hunting, that they just take the 2 weeks off. That's crazy.
Mark, what do you guys get off for? Sailboat season or something?
Nah. Boston's got some weird holidays. We have this one holiday called Evacuation Day.
What?
And yeah. So we don't do it anymore, but we used to, up until just a few years ago, we would have school closed for Evacuation Day. Now that's the holiday when the British evacuated the city of Boston during the Revolutionary War.
Holla.
Yeah. Now, ironically, it falls on St. Patrick's Day.
Oh.
So
double dipping.
Yeah.
Excuse for a holla.
That's right. It was when they took all the witches to Salem and burnt them.
No, that's just called Tuesday.
Okay, so I guess one of the hot topics this week on Reddit, on the K-12 sysadmin Reddit, was a post about operational technology and whether or not IT departments, it's the responsibility of IT departments to handle things like at door access control, security cameras, HVAC systems, plug, the random thing that plugs into power, and because it plugs into power, it's an IT problem. This, Mark, you were saying it was a rather not heated debate, but a rather popular topic because it had over 80 comments on K-12 sysadmin.
Yeah, Chris, did you get in and moderate this? Isn't that part of your job now?
Yeah, I mean, we do moderate, we vet, but we just talk, man.
It's a living organism, Mark.
It's K-12 techs hanging out with K-12 techs over at K-12 sysadmin.
But if you're looking for a closed environment and a little bit more private than Reddit, check out, Chris, where do they go?
K-12? Well, that's K12techpro.com.
Not to be confused with K12 Tech Bros that we talked about earlier, where pictures of Mark's tattoos will be. I mean, not Mark, the other guy.
Jump on K12 Tech Pros community for the deeper conversation, but
and maybe a picture.
Yes, but this topic, over 80 comments, very hot topic on K12 sysadmin this week. So what do you guys, if it plugs in, do you have to manage it?
Yeah.
Are you mad about it? You cool with it?
I'll be the first to admit I hate cameras. I hate door locks. They're just something riding on my network, one, to cause problems, and when they don't work, we get blamed. But I think they're just one of those necessary evils now that, between the maintenance department and my department, we can take care of it. But still, at times, there's a little bit of finger pointing, especially when we have to get the vendor involved and something's not communicating. Right. It's always the network's fault. So yeah, I don't know. And I don't know. Chris, what do you think?
Well, WSD Tech said if it uses electricity, it's IT's job. I agree with that. I mean, if it's on the network,
an electric pencil sharpener, Chris.
Is it a smart electric pencil sharpener?
You just said if it uses electricity, it's an IT problem.
Yeah, so I guess I say no to that. But if it is on our network, of course, we should want to be involved. I think my stance on that has changed over the years. I used to be like, no, that's whatever, get that, whatever. I don't have to log in. And then that's what we see. And we've heard the stories, right? Of that's when default passwords don't get changed. That's when user accounts don't get disabled because we chose to not get involved with it.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the general kind of feeling I have. Like, if it is going to go on the network, then IT has to have a role in it. Because if you have somebody else managing something on your network, it's going to either cause problems for you or it's going to create a massive security leak. So I think we generally try to be very closely involved, if not overseeing any sort of data system, or network attached process. Doesn't mean we manage all of those ourselves, but we definitely try to be very, very involved if it's going to do that. Reading through this conversation, there's some crazy stuff on there of what people are attached to doing. I think, there's somebody who said that they even have to build the schedule for the high school and schedule students. That's extreme.
Right.
I do recognize, though, that in smaller districts, the system, the SIS the most. And so sometimes that tends to be the person who does it. I can relate to that, though, because there have been times where people have said, well, so who's the scheduling master in your district? And people will point to me because we manage the SIS. Not ideal, but I get it because we know how the system works. So it's not an easy thing, but there were some comments I agree with. There are some comments on this I disagree with. I don't think that building access systems and security cameras that are on your network, I don't think you should be pushing those off. I think that is something that you should be holding very, very close to, especially with a lot of security concerns coming through HVAC and building automation systems. So I would encourage you to at least be involved in those decisions and those managements, if not owning them, if you have the manpower to do that. But the list of things that people are managing on here is insane, and that's another liability or risk when you have too much on your plate.
We used to deal with it with our bell system, and we finally got it changed. There's a difference between bell system communicates on our network. We control who has access to it, and it's a testing day, call the tech department to make changes to the bells. And there's differences there. And for a while, because we had a clunky bell system, we were the ones responsible for the bells are changing this Friday. And that sucked. And we don't have the resources to keep up with that. So our job then can be, let's get a new bell system and let's shift that. So yes, we're over access, but we have someone else responsible for those updates. Even we host a big Christmas basketball tournament, big deal in our area. We stream all those games. It's our responsibility to make sure streaming's going to work. It's our responsibility to make sure that the press has access to guest Wi-Fi. But we will get hit up for like, hey, can you help with the actual streaming of the games? Well, no, that's not our bit in that. That should be other folks responsible for that. And there was some posts about like with HVAC system, where a tech is responsible for adjusting the temperatures. That's not tech department's job.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's one comment that kind of struck my interest,
Fancy?
and it was
Tickled your fancy.
tickle my fancy, and there's a Reddit user.
There's the title of the episode right there. Tickle my fancy.
That time Mark got his tickle fancy.
Where was I? No, it was. This is always an awkward part of like, oh, Reddit user, Clown Loach 2.
Hey, side note, on K12 Tech Pro, we use our real names.
That's right. So Clown Loach said, I deal with a lot that isn't traditional IT. About a quarter of my time is spent on non-IT stuff. Security cameras, recording servers, AV control systems, gym sound systems, gym projectors, video walls, LED displays, conference systems, VoIP phone system, PA systems, etc. There's nothing on that list that I would not think is part of your role, a part of your job. So it's just interesting
Mark's
to
gonna
see.
get hate mail from Clown Loacher.
Clown Loach 2.
Oh,
Sorry.
we're gonna have hate mail.
I know, but I think you have a responsibility of being involved in a lot of those. Whether or not you're managing it
Right.
is a different thing, but you need to be a part of the decision and the onboarding and the partial management of it. Otherwise, it will be your problem down the road.
It's still killer in my school district. Our security camera system. We've taught others how to pull footage, but
Yeah.
we pull the best footage.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
do. We know how to put it into the proper format. So we always get hit up for that. And again, that's on us to educate well on how to do that properly. But that's just been something that we can't shake off of our department.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we also learned the hard way. We implemented a new security system recently, our security camera system, and they left the default recording settings on, and it was crushing our network with uploads. So, if it's not your problem now, it's going to be your problem if you don't get involved soon. So,
speaking of hate mail,
oh,
we did. I have it here. Hang on. We did get a piece of hate mail about Chris of all people, and it was
What?
Hang on, let me get it out of the envelope.
Are you typing it?
No, can't you hear me? I'm getting it out of the envelope. Dear K12 TikTok podcast, this is from Wi-Fi enthusiast on Reddit. Apparently, Wi-Fi enthusiast says, please help Chris get better Wi-Fi. His sound is awful. Wi-Fi enthusiast, we're working on that.
Is it awful today?
It's okay. You look washed out.
You know what I'm gonna buy as soon as we wrap this up? I'm gonna buy. What should I buy?
Google Wi-Fi.
I'm gonna get it.
There you go.
Today's the day.
So I don't know.
So
if you
I
guys...
see you and I hear you, listener, Wi-Fi enthusiast.
Yes, because that was a very real person. I don't know if you guys got the email from Google this week, the Google Workspace Updates blog website. So it's workspaceupdates.googleblog.com. They released a new feature for Google Classrooms called Classroom Analytics. They started pushing it out on Tuesday, November 7th, and it's a way for administration, even teachers, to see analytics for their classrooms. The amount of engagement from students, average grades, changes in scores, activity, how many missing assignments, average, blah, 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 blah. So this,
Cool.
I know our administration would love to see some of this statistical information because it's live and it's in Google Classroom where it's all happening. Unfortunately, you have to make quite a few. You have to make a couple custom admin roles per building. So like your high school principal will have a custom admin role that only gives him access to see classrooms in the high school. So you're gonna have to break that down by building, and there's instructions on how to do all that. But I guess we weren't one of the districts that received it on November 7th, and I got totally down a rabbit hole today and did not get a chance to look at it back.
Is it free?
Yeah, well, no. Again, Google and their new shift in charging schools for everything under the sun. This is part of the Workplace Plus, Education Plus program.
All right.
So you do have to have the buy-up program to do this. And speaking of that, I have a funny story about one of the other features in the buy-up program. We got an alert through context-aware alerts that a student account, I'll just say, was taking part in impossible travel. I really like that term now, that describes the problem very well.
Hey, side note before you tell the story.
Yeah.
On K-12 Tech Pro, April posted this really great article talking about how you can identify these impossible travel logs really easily and dig into resetting passwords, all that kind of thing. So again, if you're not on community, jump into that because it's a great article.
So I was panicked thinking that I had a kid whose credentials had been compromised, because this has happened. It's happened once or twice before, and it always turns out to be a kid figured out another kid's password.
You were texting us, like you were sounding the alarm.
Yeah. So I got in my car and I drove across campus to go to the high school, and I
No,
ahead
you
of time,
didn't.
That's extreme.
what did I say?
You took a drive?
I drove. Yeah, I didn't walk.
And I got an airplane and I flew right to Russia to find that computer.
Yeah, I had the IP address. I had called the part I left out is I called the librarian to ask her to go get the kid out of class so we could have a conversation.
Little Johnny, get him now.
Yeah, that's more or less how the conversation went. So I'm screeching into the parking lot and I see the SRO in the parking lot. We have a conversation about deer hunting. So in my head, as I'm walking to the classroom, not with the SRO, I think, you know what, this could be a VPN. This kid could have a VPN. So I get into the library, the librarian's walking in with the student, and she introduces me to the kid, and I say, look, you're not in trouble. I'm just going to ask you some questions that I want honest yes or no answers to, and we'll move on. We're just going to have a conversation. So I said, clearly,
you pushed him up against the wall.
No, I said, clearly you haven't been in Eastern Europe today. He's like, no, sir. I said, are you using a VPN on your phone? Yes. I said, you also have your school Gmail account on your phone? Yes, sir. I said, are you making your VPN look like you're in Eastern Europe? Yes, sir.
Cool.
In an exacerbated tone, deflated, defeated, frustrated, I said, knock it off. And he goes, yes, sir. I'll make it look like it's in Nebraska. And I'm like, okay, that's better. So
he just wants freedom.
Well, okay, so that gets into my rant later that day and since then is, VPN companies market their product online on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but I assume they do it on TikToks.
They do it on the YouTube.
On the YouTubes. that they make it out to be this cloak of invisibility. And I think I even text you guys with that phrase. Like they make it appear to be that you can hide from anyone and everyone if you're using a VPN. And really all you're doing is using someone else's computer to browse the web, and they're probably logging that traffic, and it can leak at times. I mean, just Google search VPN data leaks. And that's, unfortunately, I don't think kids understand that, students understand that. And like this conversation, it's like, look, if you were invisible with that VPN, I wouldn't have been able to see that you were using your account, and it made it look like it was in Russia. Like, so that proves the point,
Right.
that it's not Harry Potter's cloak of invisibility. Like, come on. So
I was talking to my team today though, and they mentioned a couple of YouTubers, like video game YouTubers, that like their biggest sponsors are VPN companies.
Sure.
I mean, our kids are just getting fed this, that VPNs are the cool, good thing to do. They don't see it as malicious. They don't see it as wrong. So.
And at the heart of the matter, VPNs were originally designed to allow remote access into a private LAN from a remote connection, and they're great at that. They're not great at hiding your traffic online. If you're on a public Wi-Fi that might be suspect, and you're worried about your traffic being intercepted, okay. But to use a VPN, and I know I'm preaching to the choir. Everybody's probably like, yeah, go, keep going, Josh, keep preaching to the choir. You guys can say that. Like,
I just gotta I'm gonna find us a VPN sponsor. Like, this is it.
So I don't know. I'm sure that's a fight that we're all fighting. It's just ridiculous at times.
But you're the one jumping into vehicles, and like, I mean, you did a thing.
I drove
that's
across
extreme.
campus. That's not uncommon. Like,
it should be uncommon.
That I leave my office and drive across campus?
Yes.
I think it's funny though that like in my head I have an image of you like screeching across campus in your car, pulling into a driveway.
And he rolls out.
Yeah.
Rolling out, but then you see the school resource officer and you're like, "Hey, you get your gun all oiled up for hunting season?"
No.
And then you immediately stop and talk about hunting season.
No, he just got back from deer hunting, and I was asking him how it went.
And then you had this like long drawn out conversation, and you're like, "Oh crap, VPN," and then just burst into the school and held a kid against the wall and shook him down.
Hold a kid against the wall.
Do you work for Russia?
Are you a Russian spy? All right. Any closing thoughts for tonight, guys? I know we mentioned the Jeffco Public Schools and Clark County. We pour one out. I've finished my bourbon. My bourbon is empty. I drank it in honor of those fine folks fighting that fight tonight. Any other topics you guys want to mention for next week? Thanksgiving.
Well, I want to talk about StatusGator.
Oh, I forgot about StatusGator.
Hey, but I did not forget about StatusGator. So they have recently redone pretty much their system. If you can think back, I think it was in September, there was a Clever outage. Clever was down for a couple hours, like totally down, big headache for many a school district. If you were using StatusGator, you go into StatusGator, you put in all the services, all the apps, all the sites that you use, and you can actually put in who you want to have notified when something goes down. So in the case of Clever, they will take care of that work to email your team, to email staff, for it to go to a district status page to tell your teachers that there's an outage. So they can save you the work of that. StatusGator is affordable. And they, again, I have known StatusGator, Josh, we were talking about that the other day, about how long we've known
over a year
them.
ago. Yeah.
And they were not so much into K-12 way back when, as like a priority, I would say. Well, they figured that out. K-12 is a priority for them, so they're making it affordable as well for K-12. So you can go to statusgator.com/K-12 podcast to get a demo, to get some special pricing, the whole bit. statusgator.com/K-12 podcast.
I think they need what their marketing materials. Do they have little alligators as like plush
Yeah, I think so.
alligators they can hand
Oh,
out? at
plush
con-
alligators. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
what else would they be?
I get the little alligator alerts. I get a little email that's like, your life is gonna suck in a few minutes. It's a little alligator. It's great.
Little talking alligator. He walks on his hind legs and
Yeah, like this major system's down. I love it.
smiling ear to ear, because
Yeah.
alligators have big mouths. Yeah, so Thanksgiving's coming up in a couple weeks. We'll see what that means for us. And any closing thoughts tonight, guys?
Love you guys.
Mark, I'm really I know the bit we did at the beginning of the episode was a joke. Mark's mom, he didn't show us any tattoos. He doesn't have a tattoo.
Mark's mom is gonna be fine with how this plays out.
She'll love you no matter what, Mark.
I know. The thing is, this is not going to get mentioned until Christmas. So,
Well, it's tomorrow.
Because she does listen. She emails Chris quite a bit. Like
She
they've
wrote-
exchanged recipes.
Didn't she write me a letter?
She did write you a letter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was uncomfortable with that. Thank you.
So there's that.
Yep.
I can't wait. I cannot wait for the photo session for your lower back tattoo for K-12 Tech Bros. That's gonna be sweet. And Chris and I's matching lower back tattoos. Apparently.
Yeah.
We are K-12 Tech Talk, and so are you. Cut it. Cut it. The views and opinions expressed on the K-12 Tech Talk podcast are the personal opinions of Josh, Chris, and Mark, and do not represent the views or opinions of our sponsors or other organizations that we're affiliated with. The material and information presented here is for general information and entertainment purposes only. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.